Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech number 65 here, going over the top 10 Gruul cards for EDH, or Commander. All you guys know my criteria at this point. All the cards got to be under $20. No combo bait. These are cards that are going to create some interaction and fun for everyone. Now, my honorable mentions here has a few cards that you may not see other places. I definitely recommend checking these out. Borborgimos, who is brand new. I haven't actually gotten a chance to play him. A few of my friends said that he should be in the top 5. He's a little high casting cost for me, but seems like a lot of fun, especially if you're able to actually ever swing through with him. Hull Breach is just another wonderful card. Destroy artifacts, destroy enchantments, or destroy both. It's sorcery speed, so I think there's some better, but it's still a very solid card. Gruul Warchant is also a nice one, especially if you need a finisher to force through your damage. If you're playing a Gruul deck, there's a really good chance that you're actually going to be attacking with creatures. Fire Spout also, though, has a warm place in my heart because it's a wonderful playable card. It doesn't seem very Gruul in that it takes out flyers and it's kind of in an odd space, but it's both green and red, falls into the color identity, and is very, very useful. Number 10 spot here, I've got Radha, Heir to Keld. Now, I hated her as a commander. I have an EDH deck. It's based around Radha. I did not understand how great it is to have a commander that has add 1 green mana to your mana pool when I started playing. This ability is beautiful. It's built-in ramp in your commander. Yes, late game it doesn't matter that much, but when you're trying to get to 4, 5, 6, 7 drops, she is wonderful. I recommend checking her out. She's probably the best commander out there at this point for red-green if you want to run consistently. If you want to have fun and play with giant creatures, there's some better options. But if you're going to play a little more on the competitive side, Radha is wonderful. The number 9 spot here, I've got Huntmaster of the Fells. Now, this card is really like flipping a coin. It's either amazing or it's terrible. If you can get it flipping on every single player's turn, you end up with a bunch of life and a bunch of 2/2s, and it's wonderful. If you can't get it flipping, you're there with an overpriced 2/2 or maybe a 4/4, but no real utility out of it. I love the card, though. A lot of personality. Feels like a good Gruul card. Number 8 spot, we've got Vengeful Rebirth here. This is a regrowth and a damage spell in 1. I really like this because of the flavor. The casting cost is definitely over the top. I would love to see this card come out again with a few less in the casting cost, although if you've got some giant dragons, you can do a huge amount of damage with this card overall. It really combines that regrow and the direct damage aspects of the 2 different colors. Great card. Number 7 spot is Bloodbraid Elf. Now, I know this is a powerhouse in Modern until it was banned, and in Legacy, but many people say, oh, it's too small to play in EDH. Don't forget the early part of your curve. Often, playing a Bloodbraid Elf means that you get a free reach or a free sword. The other cards that you cascade into are going to either accelerate you or give you something incredibly powerful. When you've stocked your deck full of great cards, Cascade is one of the most powerful abilities in Commander. Don't overlook it. Add all the Cascade you can to your decks. You'll be happy. Number 6 spot, Raging Ravine here. Lots of people I play with love board wipes. I love having creature lands that I can come back and hit them hard after they've destroyed the board. Don't underestimate the +1/+1 counters you get on this. In a longer game, these can add up. They're also great in the little bit more competitive decks that you occasionally see. Number 5 spot here, I've got Ruric Thur. Now, I know he just came out, but he's a 6/6 that's at least going to cost your opponent 6 damage to get rid of. And if you're able to get something on him to protect him, maybe make him indestructible with a Darksteel Plate or Hexproof, he can do a huge amount of damage. Shuts down combo decks, shuts down the do-nothing dirtily decks. I love this guy. Vigilance. Reach is a little weird on him. I'd rather have him have haste, but he's a great attacker, great blocker, great ability. He makes a strong commander. Number 4 spot here, I've got Artifact Mutation. This card is nuts. 1 green, 1 red, destroy an artifact. It's a decent card until you think about the huge number of artifacts that you see in EDH swords all over the place. The ability to kill one of your opponent's artifacts and then use those 1/1s as chump blockers early in the game is wonderful. It's also nice to just have a way to poke back at somebody who attacks you and say, hey, I hit you back, I destroyed one of your artifacts, we're even, go after somebody else. Use some of your political leverage to make the game work in your favor. The number 3 spot here, I've got Domray. Green and red are about giant creatures. This is the best planeswalker. I was so happy to see this guy. He is wonderful in my green-red deck. He's almost always an extra card, especially when you combine him with Sylvan Library or Sensei's Divining Top. And when that ultimate goes off, your creatures have double strike, trample, haste, and hexproof. What more can you ask for? He also has a removal ability on him, so he keeps himself alive early game. I love this guy. He's wonderful. Number 2 spot here, I've got Fires of Yavimaya. Beautiful standard tournament card, but people underestimate the value of haste in EDH. I mean, in my mono green deck, I threw Concordant Crossroads in for a while, even though it helped everybody else, because I wanted to get my fatties out there and attacking. In green red, it's only creatures you control, so it's got that, and you can sack it to give +2/+2 to one of your creatures, so it gives you a little bit of extra damage when you need it. It's one of those things that they can't just capsize because you can sack it, so it's a great permanent. Definitely recommend it. You'll be so happy when you have this out on turn 3, and then maybe you top deck a Raphalos, put the Raphalos in, and tap him for insane amounts of mana, or pull a dragon off the top and attack with it. This card is wonderful. In the number 1 spot here, I've got Kessig Wolfrun. Kessig is incredible. It's won me more games than any other red-green card. It is a great mana sink late game, but the most important part behind it is that it gives trample. When you've got your giant creatures there, nothing is more annoying than for the Tessa deck next to you to block with a 1/1 and stop you from getting through. All of your creatures end up as live damage, and you don't even have to use this on your own creatures. There are more times than I can count that I've used a Kessig Wolfrun on one of my opponent's commanders who is attacking someone else to watch someone just get removed from the game. I love this card. It has a great feel in that it has that plus, and it has trample abilities, extra damage, wonderful political sway also in an EDH game. Thanks. This has been Brian Rowe with the top 10 Gruul EDH cards. Please leave comments if I missed anything big. I've got a Gruul EDH that I'm currently working on redoing. I'll put a link down in the comments to the list over on Tapped Out, and I'd love to have any comments or suggestions from you. I love playing giant stompy creatures in a ramp deck occasionally. Gets me out of that normal control mindset that I'm in.
I did that on purpose. I don't have to miss. We face each other as God intended. Sportsmanlike. No tricks, no weapons. Skill against skill alone. It's not my fault being the biggest and the strongest. I don't even exercise. When you see, you use different moves when you're fighting. After does it, people, then we only have to be one. But what?
I do not envy you the headache you will have when you awake. But in the meantime, rest well and dream of large women.